Hi, welcome to Latina Nomad. We're super excited to be back after a week of very exciting events, working with the homeless children that we serve throughout New York City here at Dirty B. And today we are back with Edel. I didn't want to sabotage your name. Edel Borrero, and he is a very exciting topic because he is the founder of the Latino Triathlon Club. So we're going to go straight into that discussion, and the discussion today again is goal setting. The goal setting discussions this month are all about planning for the new year, prepping you through the lessons learned on how to go about really setting your goals and really fulfilling them, and not just making another New Year's resolutions that we won't accomplish. So with that said, welcome, Edel.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We're super excited.
My pleasure.
So let's start first of all with just a little bit of background on you, because you're juggling a career
and triathlon club at the moment. So yes, my name is Edel Borrero. I am Bronx native, born and raised in the Bronx. Currently living in Long Island. I work here in the city for a law firm, so I'm juggling that career, but my main love and goal and aspirations and everything that I'm putting my energy to is Latino Triathlon Club.
So let's talk about that. So you started that how long ago?
We started in 2009, and now it's 2016. We're going into 2017. We are a 501c3 nonprofit charity organization. Our mission is to introduce the endurance sports and triathlon to the Latino community. We also uplift our communities, and we really have a big focus on introducing healthy lifestyles to the Latino community and communities of color.
Awesome. So let's go back a little bit as to how and why this all got started. So you were an athlete yourself before starting this, or?
Right. Well, I began racing in triathlon in 2005, and it really just was the weirdest introduction to the sport. A friend of mine called me up one day, and we came up with this idea of actually trekking through Europe, and it was a great idea. But the whole thing came up like, but we're so out of shape. How are we gonna do trekking and all this? He basically then says, well, I know this guy. He trains for triathlon. He's part of this great organization that you get in there and you can raise money for cancer research, and they will train you to do triathlon, and you'll get healthy, and you're gonna raise some money for a good cause, and we'll be in shape to do this. I was like, okay. So it's an organization called Team and Training, and they're around for cancer research. So you become part of Team and Training. You do fundraising for cancer research, and you get trained to do a particular triathlon. I was great, fantastic. There's just one little thing. I don't swim, and I don't know how to ride a bike. So here's me, age 35 or so, not knowing how to swim, not knowing how to ride a bike. So I basically had to learn very quickly.
Oh, wow.
So I got myself trained up and began training for triathlon. And one thing that really that really made the sport really personal for me was my mom passed away that year also. She passed away from Alzheimer's dementia. So I basically then dedicated my training in her memory. So that first triathlon where it was strenuous, coming off of never knowing how to swim, never knowing how to ride a bike as a child, never getting into, it's never being able to do any of that. Getting through that goal, crossing that finish line in memory of my mother really made that sport and that experience just so very, very special for me. And then what I really took home was, once I finished that, I got hooked on the sport.
It became like an addiction with that?
Became like an addiction because I really saw the transformation in my thinking, and not only in my health, my endurance and whatnot, but my thinking, my attention to detail, my time management. Just being able to say, I have to wake up at this hour to do this and get myself prepared to do that. I have to eat this in order for me to get through this workout, and I have to make sure that I get enough sleep because I have to wake up and go to work also, and all this balancing. I really got to see how the training and that whole mindset and that whole healthy living really positively impacted me. And I kept thinking, well, you know what, this is a great thing to bring to the Latino community because the sport of triathlon is so great, it's life-changing, but I don't see many other Latinos in it.
So let's take it back a little bit. When you set this goal forth, not knowing how to swim and not knowing how to bike, how did you go about establishing those goals and staying committed? So you first of all, you had the inspiration being your mother, right? Like dedicating into her.
It's basically once joining the organization of Team and Training, they provided the training, but it's a matter of taking advantage of the training. It's whatever you put in is what you're going to get out. So yeah, you knew you had to show up at a swim training at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. after work or whatnot, but some people never showed up. You know, it's a matter of really setting that goal. Like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to look like a fool right now at the first couple of sessions, and I'm going to swallow a lot of water, but this is the goal that I set for myself, and I'm going to get that. I'm going to complete that session today. And one thing that I will always encourage others who may think about getting into the sport, who say, oh my God, I don't know how to swim or whatnot, it's baby steps. You set a little goal. Okay, today I'm going to swim one length of the pool, or at least, you know, get halfway done. If you can just take those little baby steps instead of being so overwhelmed, like, oh my God, I have to do, you know, X amount of miles or whatnot. You break it down into little baby steps, and before you know it, you've got that goal accomplished. You know?
And I think that is huge. That's one thing that we always try to let people know is set the goals, but give yourself that time and create that pace for yourself where you're doing it. Like, don't try to do it all in one shot.
Exactly.
Because I think that's where people get so frustrated, whether it's weight loss or career goals, that it's not happening fast enough, but everything takes time. And
Exactly.
So from there, so you completed it, and then you noticed that there wasn't Latinos.
Right, there wasn't.
And there was great things they could benefit from.
Exactly. So I began getting more into the sport, and fast forward a couple of years later, I was actually mentoring for Team and Training, mentoring other first-time triathletes in their journey to complete whatever endurance event that they were taking on, where I really bonded with a group of other triathletes and other Latino triathletes, and we decided in 2008 to start this club, and so we were able to get incorporated and get all our ducks in a row to launch, and in 2009 Latino Triathlon Club was born.
And so when you set that, what were the goals that you set for that first phase?
Well, for that first phase was just basically finding the right individuals to fit the jobs that we needed at that point. Someone who had some sort of financial background, someone who was great at project management. Because I'll be the first to admit, I am not a businessman. I'm more of a creative person. Actually, I was a musician for many years.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm more of a creative person. So it's about finding the right individuals that you can basically bond with, work with, to create, your vehicle.
To complement your goals.
Exactly.
And to complement your skill sets, right? And that's something that we always focus on is be true to yourself as to what you're good at and what you hate to do, right? Because you could be good at some stuff and not like doing it. And then finding the people that help you complement the things that you're not good at and the things that you really don't want to do.
Exactly.
So that together you...
It's true, and it's also, I think, a matter of taming the ego. I'll admit, on certain subjects, I'm not the smartest person, or I don't know this particular subject. But if you can find that individual through friends of friends, other people in industry, whatever industry it is, if you can find that individual who is an expert or has more experience than you in that particular subject matter, bond with them. Just get together, dialogue, see if you can bring them onto your team. It's the only way to make your team stronger.
It's true. That's really, really important. So once you created those goals, you started getting the right people on board, and you started rolling out the program.
Right.
What were the goals for that? Like, because you've diversified a lot in the last 7 years. So what were your first initial?
Well, our first initial goals were basically just to create a program that could really bring first-time people who are just interested in the sport, bring them actually into the sport. Because triathlon, generally, it can be an expensive sport. People see on TV triathletes and Ironman competitions, and they're riding around on $5,000, $6,000 bikes, and they've got all this equipment, and it can be an expensive sport, or an overwhelming sport. Like, oh my God, I'd love to do this, but how can I even afford the coaching to do something of this nature? So our goals were to make the sport as affordable to the average person who'd be interested in getting into it. So we scaled back coaching fees, tried to work deals with various bike stores in the city to offer discounts to members, just to try to make the whole sport affordable to somebody who's just first time interested. And we started growing bit by bit from that. So we kind of gone into, we came from the little engine that could to actually being a viable team, a recognized team, a respected club in the tri-state area.
That's awesome. And that was just with a lot of partnerships then, because
Right.
Partnerships are key to that goal.
Partnerships, word of mouth, just trying to work with the right people,
What was the biggest challenge for you in that first year, setting your goals and trying to establish these partnerships, getting the right people,
I think,
and attracting the Latino
right,
audience?
well, that's true. A lot of word of mouth, a lot of just really talking to friends of friends, because the reality is in the Latin community, triathlon is not a well-known sport. It's basically, it could be boxing, baseball, basketball.
So was that your biggest challenge, was getting that message out? Getting
that message out. Also really hitting home that the benefits of the healthy lifestyle that the sport promotes, really getting people to understand that triathlon is a little bit different from joining the weekend softball team. When you get into the sport and you really get hooked on the sport, that's when you start really realizing and understanding the really healthy aspects. Because in order to get through to that finish line, you've got to time management. You've got to put the right nutrition into the body. You've got to get the right sleep. But once you get to that, you understand wow, this is more than just a sport. This is a whole lifestyle, and it's benefiting me. So
that's awesome. So tell me about those past 7 years, because it's been 7 years now.
Yeah, well, we're going on our 9th year now.
Oh, 9th year.
Yeah.
So on your 9th year, talk to me about how it's diversified, because now you offer a lot more.
Well, we do offer a lot more than just triathlon training. Just for the average adult, one of the things that we're actually most proud of is for about the past 7 years now, we've been working with a inner city high school in the South Bronx, and we developed our Tri-Latino Junior program, and that's something that's extremely near and dear to my heart. We work with Bronx Academy of Letters High School, and every year we go, starting in January, we put together a team of 18 to 20 kids and get them ready for their first endurance event. But it's more than just getting a youth across a finish line. We also put together a mentorship program, sort of like on the level of Big Brothers Big Sisters. So we pair up our Tri-Latino Junior with one of the Tri-Latino adult members, and they become their mentor for that particular season. We also work with putting together what we call healthy lifestyle workshops, where we'll get experts to come in and speak with the kids on topics, everything ranging from how to read food labels to general subjects on taking the proper nutrition into your body, not just to get for a sport, but just general nutrition, how to eat healthy. Because some of the kids come into the program just saying to us like, oh, well, I don't really eat anything for breakfast, or had a bag of Doritos for breakfast, and it's like, yeah, you may want to rethink that.
Yeah.
And by the end of the program, they understand that proper nutrition, proper rest is only going to affect them positively in their lives, not just physically, but mentally. That's going to help with their schoolwork and whatnot. So we do those workshops. We also provide study halls for the kids. So it's a whole, that Tri-Latino Junior program, yes, it's about getting it, this youth from 14 to 17, physically ready, but it's also about really having them become better people, better citizens, and really giving them more to focus on beyond just the urban jungle.
Right.
Giving them more options. Because what I've found is once a kid comes through this particular program and they may not have been able to swim before, or they started and they couldn't run for 2 minutes, but having them see that, go through the program and knowing that, hey, I can swim a half mile or a mile, I can now run 3 miles, I can bike 14 miles, I know how to eat better, I know how to work my time management. So I'm actually doing better in school now. I have a little bit more discipline. When they come out of the program and they cross that finish line, there's that click, that magic moment. It's like, okay, I can do this. Well, yeah, you did this, and now if you can take that feeling, you can apply that to anything in your life, man. You can do that to your schoolwork. You can do that to your family life. You can do it anywhere. What do you want to do once you graduate from high school? You can do anything.
It's transferable skills that they develop.
Right.
And you mentioned family. So you're a husband, a father.
I'm not a father yet.
Oh, sorry. They said that you had a father. Sorry about that. Wrong bio. So, but you're a husband,
yes.
And you're managing, this program,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, because you're actually coaching on the sites, right?
Yes, I'm also one of the coaches for the triathlon team.
Right. So you're coaching on both sides, and then you have a full-time job.
Yes.
So how important is goal setting for you, managing all these responsibilities?
It's extremely important. Sometimes life can be seem a bit unbalanced, but it's time management, goal focusing is extremely important, or else I wouldn't be able to manage my day. I'm blessed to have a very understanding wife who actually I met on the team.
Oh.
So
follow your passion that comes together.
There you go. So she's a fellow athlete herself, so she understands that world. But still, nevertheless, managing time management, I think, is the most important thing, as well as goal setting. Knowing where you need to be, how much time you can focus on a particular job or aspect of the club, being able to prioritize, being able not to lose focus on your personal life also. it's very, very important.
So that's very important, because one of the things that in the interviews that we've had in the past, and just in general discussions with people, they get so obsessed with their goals that they drop other aspects of their life. So how do you maintain that balance between family and work and your passion project?
Right.
Well, not project anymore, because it's an actual
it's out there. Yeah, it's out there.
So you're pursuing your passion. So how do you?
It can be a struggle. I think communication is very important, especially between myself and my wife. Making sure that we check in with each other, so that I'm not letting that aspect of my life, fall to the wayside. I think it's also very important to just literally write things down, make sure that you have a set schedule. I think, and that's something that I've actually, in my opinion, had sometimes really struggled with. But I think the importance of this literally, it sounds so simple, but just writing things down, making sure that you have things in black and white that you can always go back and refer to. Just most simplest things, even just having a calendar that you can actually look back and say, okay, we got to do this, this, and this, and this, and okay, this and this on that day. Also, don't be afraid to really, I think, don't get down on yourself if you do miss things every once in a while.
That's important.
Yeah, it's you can aim to do 100 things in a day, and you only get to do 75 of them or whatever, 50 of them. I think it's important for anyone, if they're getting into entrepreneurship or just in the creative arts, whatever industry, don't beat yourself up so much about what's not done at that particular moment in time. Celebrate what you could accomplish, and then just refocus and gear up again for tomorrow.
I think that's so huge, because I do see that a lot of people tend to forget that. Like, I tell people, pat yourself in the back.
Yeah.
For every small step you take, and you may think that, oh, but I what did I really accomplish? But whatever it is, you took that one small step, like you were saying, towards the direction of where you're trying to get to. So really patting yourself in the back and giving yourself credit for that, because if you don't, then who else is going
it's
to do
true.
it, right?
I see that a lot with people who are, especially people who are getting into the sport or just trying to get themselves healthy again after an extended period of time of being a couch potato. People sometimes, get off the sofa. They want to do their first, 5K, whatever, run 3 miles. And they're like, oh, but I only ran for 5 minutes today, and I have to walk the rest or whatever. It's like, well, yeah, you know what? That's great. You ran 5 minutes today. That was more than you did last week. Last week you didn't even think of yourself of doing this, but you made the decision to transform your life in some way, shape, or form, and you're out there. You're out there in the game.
It's so true, and it's so funny because I'm the worst when it comes to working out. But there's the PX90 videos, and they give you that test thing to show you the exercises, and they're like, just start. I did like 5 minutes of it, and I almost died, and I was like, I'm never doing that again. I almost died just doing the simple thing. I was like, I'm not even playing that video.
But it's baby steps.
Yeah, but you're right. And it's something that I follow with everything else. But when it comes to fitness, I'm like, that hurt too much. Forget it. I'm just moving forward. My trainer hates me. He's just like, But so those are really great tips. So what we're getting is time management is crucial.
Yeah.
Partnerships.
Yes.
Is really, really important. Admitting where your strengths are, which is something you did really well, apparently. Definitely, part of it has also been communication, both at home and with your team and everyone else, right?
Yeah.
So you spoke a lot about time management. Is there a certain way that you use it? Is there an app you're using? Is it just a regular calendar, electronically, paper, like planner?
It's my smartphone is one of my best friends. So just basically use electronic calendar for myself. Yeah, I would just say that that's how it works for me. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, because everyone has like their own different techniques, you know, that they use for it. So, if you could, what's one piece of advice that you could give people watching about goal setting?
Well, the one piece of advice is, well, there's a couple of things, two things. First of all, don't be afraid to just shoot for your goals. There's so many people who live in fear of even putting together a goal. It's like, don't be afraid to fail. It's like, you know, I think, you know, it's been probably said before and it might sound cliche, but I think the biggest disappointment and the biggest sadness I see in people are people who live in regret. It's like, oh, if I only did this, or if I only did try to do that, would have, could have. You know what? The only way you're gonna know is if you give it a shot. So set that goal, you know. And I would say also, if you don't make the goal right now, it's okay. There's always tomorrow. Just don't give up. Just give it a shot. Keep going at it. Rome was not built in a day. Triathlon was not built in a day. It's still not, you know, it's still not where we wanted to get to. Eventually, our dream of Triathlon is to have chapters not only in New York, but in other major cities where the Latino community exists, like Triathlon Chicago, Miami, Boston, wherever. So we're not there yet, but that's a larger goal for the organization. And I'm the outgoing president of Triathlon. In 2017, we're going to have a new injection of new blood, a new board. Very excited to see where the organization is going to be going in 2017 and beyond. And I'll still be part of Triathlon, not in a presidential role, but in a coaching role. And I'm just really excited by that.
Awesome. So the second one?
Now, the second one I would say is, for goal setting, is, again, kind of going back to something I touched earlier, really partnering with others. Yes. No man is an island unto himself. You know, people have the ego sometimes, I have to do it all by myself. And it's like, well, you really need to get other people on board. Yes. You know, you need to network. You need to find people who are smarter than you on certain subjects, or just can bring a different insight on a particular problem. And unless you have that collaborative effort, you're up against a very brick wall. Yeah. I can compare that to people who are just training, like triathlon. You race alone, basically. That person who's going through the 3 disciplines on race day, swim, bike, run, you are swimming, you are biking, you are running on your own. That's a solitary sport there, right there. But we train together. We train together as a family. So you have that support of other people to get you to that goal of completing that endurance event. And I think that's one of the things that Triathlon is very unique at. We constantly and you know, we really try to foster a family feel, a family support. We train, we race, we support each other as family. So it's not just one athlete training and going through this solitary journey to get to that finish line. It's a group, and we help each other. And
And that's definitely key, because the biggest problem we've noticed is there's some people, like you said, the ego gets in the way, or a lot of what I've noticed also is delegation issues, that people either don't know how to delegate, or they think no one else could do it better than they can. You know, and I'm a strong believer with my teams has always been that you have to empower them, equip them with the information they need, But then if they're going to fall on their face, you have to let them and just be ready to pick them up and let them learn from the lessons that are available to learn from. So that's really, really important.
Well, I would definitely agree with that, and that's sort of things that I've kind of learned a lot in over this course of 8 years of Triathlon. I actually have to say I've had a little bit of issues of delegating.
Yeah.
So it's lessons learned.
Yeah, and it's hard to let go, and really like supporting your team. I remember last year, everyone got used to me being the face and always on the ground, and then the more we grew, the less I was around, and teams were leading it, ambassadors and team leaders. And one of our leadership members did something wrong in the event, and it was pretty significant. And that was something like the people on the location no longer wanted to deal with our team member. And I was like, that's not how it works.
Yep.
I was like, I'm going to support my team member to learn, and you're going to support it on your side too. You can't just ignore the person, not answer their phone calls anymore.
Yeah.
So it's up to us to support him in every aspect of the way. But this is great. So time management is key. Prioritization, collaboration.
Yes.
Being kind to yourself.
Please.
Be kind and forgiving to yourself. And definitely building the core,
yeah.
right? Which is, and you said it earlier, your body's a machine.
Exactly. Your body's a machine.
Yes.
And, put the right fuel into it to get you through whatever you need to get through. And it's not just for sports or athletic endeavors. It goes through everything. Especially because Latino community. One of the major reasons we also put Triathlon together is to combat some of the health issues that face the Latino community. We are obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity in our youth. It's all of these things. So what you put into your body, it's a machine. You put the right fuel, it's going to get you to that finish line.
So take care of you. Communication is very important in all aspects of your life. Don't forget your loved ones who are following your obsessions and your passions.
Exactly.
It's very, very important. I think I caught it all right.
I think you
did.
did.
I miss anything?
You got it all.
So on that note, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I am really excited. We will have the links to his information, his websites, Trilatino, social networking platforms, all on our YouTube video, which will be available after this. Again, thank you so much. And tomorrow we will have another exciting interview set up for you guys that we will post out there. On that note, ciao.